What is going on, everybody? When we talk about devices like the Surface Duo 2, there's one thing that always comes up, and of course, that is productivity. And look, that's something I've talked about a lot here on this channel. That's the main purpose of a device like this, right? You've got two screens to do two things at once. What says productivity more than doing two things at once? It's a dual monitor setup on the go in your pocket when you need it conveniently there at all times. That being said, dual monitors isn't just good at being productive, getting work done. It's also really good for getting some play done. So today, I'm going to show you some quick samples of what the gaming experience you can expect to have on Surface Duo 2 is. We're going to show off some Android games, some emulated games, and some fun stuff like that, some accessories that will help augment this experience as well. So let's jump into some quick samples right now. So the first game that we're looking at here is COD Mobile, and this is very much not a game that I play, that I've played very much at all. The auto shooting mechanics seem to be quite strange, but I will say that it did run quite smoothly. Looking around was fine. I didn't quite get my look speed dialed in where it probably should have been to be able to play correctly. The audio was okay. You've got stereo sound, so I mean, it does a decent enough job. But like I said, performance was solid. The frame rate never felt like it was going to dip. The device didn't get overly hot in the match that I was playing, especially, nothing uncomfortable to say the least. And it's a game that I'm absolutely terrible at. Now, the next game that we looked at here was PUBG Mobile. Flying around in the plane, looking around quite rapidly. Also didn't really see much as far as frame drops go there. It remained relatively smooth. Landing, running around, looking around, having my dogs come in and try and interrupt what I was doing as usual. All of this seemed totally fine. And again, the stereo speakers performed rather well. I feel like they sounded good. Wasn't able to really hear where someone was or anything like that with the stereo speakers, but that's not something I would expect to be able to do. One cool thing about Duo is that, of course, while you're gaming, you can flip that second screen up, you can load up YouTube and start playing a video from your favorite YouTube channel, and the performance did not stutter, did not slip up at all while doing that. Folding it back around when I was done was totally fine. Then I jumped over to Xbox Game Pass streaming to try out some Banjo-Kazooie, and I actually found that the latency was quite negligible. This looked good and ran pretty well. Once I got a feel for where the customized controls were, generally speaking, it worked pretty good. I was having a hard time controlling old Banjo, though, because there is a little bit of latency that you're going to have to get used to, but I feel like once you get used to it, this Xbox streaming is actually not too bad. And again, it looked pretty good. I was actually pretty impressed with it. Next up, I loaded up Drastic to do some DS emulation. This is one of my favorite things to do. You can span a DS simulator, rotate it around, and you've got a pretty good approximation to a really high-end, high-resolution Nintendo DS. And you can use that big touchscreen down below to move through your menus, to interact with things, to battle and so forth in a Pokemon game like this. It works really well. Dare I say, it might work better than using a DS on games like Pokemon that aren't high action. You don't have to have quick button presses and things like that. That being said, there are good ways around that because there are controllers that work really well with the Surface Duo or Surface Duo 2, which I will show you here in a moment. After I was done with Pokemon, I then jumped into Mario Kart. And just like in Pokemon, these games are up-res so that they look way better than they did on the original DS. You have such a large, very, very large screen. The only problem with a game like this is that you want to be doing your sliding maneuver. So I kind of had to reach over with this claw and try to feel out where those buttons were. And that's not the easiest thing in the world. But again, you can attach a Bluetooth controller of any sort to this, and it's going to work really, really well. This performance is great. It looks really good. And so after I'm done with the DS, let's go to Dolphin, a GameCube and Wii emulator. Let's span it with the controls down at the bottom. This was exceptionally easy to set up. We are playing Wind Waker at 1080p. That's 3 times the normal resolution, and it is running, as you can see at the top right, 2930 FPS the entire time. This is absolutely playable. Pair a controller to this, and it's going to be a really excellent experience. It looks better than it ever did on the original GameCube. It might look better than it looked on the Wii port. So there you go. All of those games running really, really well on Surface Duo 2. And I would suggest if you want to game on this thing, get yourself a controller like this. I'll have a link in the description down below. It's telescopic and it attaches to Surface Duo really, really well. And when you do this, let's slide this bad boy in there right now. What you get is this. It's like a really high-end crazy DS where you can have, you know, a game down here and a video you're watching up top, and it's not going to suffer in terms of performance at all with something like that. In fact, I tweeted this image earlier today with Minecraft on the bottom, and yes, it does respond to the Bluetooth controller, so you're playing it like you're playing on the consoles. YouTube video up there rolling as well. Works out really tremendously well. It's just like having a dual monitor gaming setup, which is what I do here when I game. I got my monitor here and I've got something else going on over here while I'm gaming. And it's just like that, but on the go. And of course, Xbox controllers are Bluetooth capable as well. So pair that bad boy to your Surface Duo 2, put it in tent mode, set it up on a table, and get some really high level gaming done that way as well. At the end of the day, we are talking about a device that has the Snapdragon 888 and has some of the highest Geekbench scores around, maybe the highest Geekbench scores, depending on what list you look at. Games run exceptionally well here, and then the fact that you have that second screen to either play something else, to have a video going, to have whatever you want, or to put your controls on, to me, put Surface Duo in a mobile gaming class of its own. And I actually really like the screens not being these weird stretched out screens that most phones have now. They're not even 16:9, they're 2:1. They're really, really long and wide. Instead, you have these two taller screens, which feels like retro gaming back when screens were 4:3. 16:9 would be fine as well, but I like having that extra height. If I'm going to choose between really long and narrow or having the shorter, taller screen to game on, I'm picking that any day of the week. Playing Hearthstone on this thing is awesome because you've got more room to see what's going on. Playing Pocket City, which is one of my favorite mobile games. Fantastic. Pocket City on one screen, Twitter or Reddit on the other. Works fantastic. Or maybe there's an email I'm reading, and maybe they're, whatever, working on a video. So I'm looking at notes for a video and I'm being distracted by Pocket City. It all works really well. Performance never really suffers. The thing never gets crazy hot. Battery life isn't phenomenal while gaming. It is going to drop. Just like with anything else, you are going to kill your battery by doing some heavy gaming. But that's a small caveat, and that's true with most mobile devices. My personal opinion, Surface Duo 2 is one of the best mobile gaming devices around because it can do things no other mobile gaming device can do. Guys, thanks for making it to the end of today's video. Thanks for hitting that subscribe button or maybe that join button. That helps support me in a more direct way. Stay tuned for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.